Hi, my name is Julie McCullough, and my story is about a child called It by David Pelzer. It's a story that he tells about his childhood and what he went through. He was raised by his mother and his father, and he grew up with his siblings. In the beginning, he was loved. He had a happy home, a normal family, but something changed. His mother became an alcoholic and decided that she wanted to take her anger out on him, and she picked him of all of her kids and abused him. She neglected him by not feeding him, and she locked him in the basement. She made him sleep on an old army cot. She refused him meals. She wouldn't buy him new clothes. Eventually, she wouldn't even wash his clothes. He would go several days without food, and he was in a constant struggle just to survive. He would go to school, and it was about the only safe haven that he had. But still there, he got picked on by the kids for smelling, for having holes in his clothes, and he would steal their lunches whenever they were at recess so that he could eat. And eventually the school caught on, and they contacted his mother, and for a while when he would come home from school, she would ram her fingers in his throat and make him puke anything that he might have ate. Sometimes it was raw hot dogs that he stole from the cafeteria freezer, or sometimes it was trash that he'd eaten out of the trash can the night before. He always had to wash the family's dishes, and sometimes when no one was looking, he would eat scraps out of the dog food bowl that the dog wouldn't even eat. His mother caught on to him eating, and she let meat spoil in the refrigerator and put it in the trash can. He then ate that and got violently ill, was sick for days, and she just laughed at him. She knew everything that she was doing, and yet she just continued. It got worse and worse. She stabbed him, let him bleed, and didn't take him to the hospital. Before that, she even broke his arm, waited for a while, and took him to the emergency room in the middle of the night and said he had fallen out of bed. At one point, Child Services does come to the home. This boy, all he wanted was his mother to love him again, and she came into his room, she brought him into her room, and she told him, it was over, and she loved him, and it was never going to happen again. And eventually a lady came to the house, and he was so overjoyed to get to play with his brothers, and to have a meal, that when the lady came, he lied. He said that she didn't beat him, and that she didn't starve him, and he knew at that point that lady was probably there to save him, and all he did was help his mother. But even she got angry after that, because he told her that he only gets in trouble when he's a bad boy. But that set her off, and she hurt him even more, and she started making him stay in the bathroom with the door shut with these buckets of chlorine or Clorox and ammonia, and made him breathe it in until he would puke up blood. And she did this several times. He never knew exactly what his punishment was going to be, but he would wait for it, and it was always something awful. Eventually, he was being watched by a teacher at the school. She started making notes of him being late because his mother would drop him off and make him run to school so that he wouldn't have time to steal food. And he would get there late sometimes because he would steal food from the grocery store or beg for food at people's homes. And when he would get to school late, he already had excuses as to why he was late. And he had excuses that his mother put in his head about his bruises and his marks. And finally the school got enough information and was able to turn her in and take him into custody and get him away from her. There's 2 other books, and I look forward to reading them as well and finding out, maybe what happened to her and what happened to him. But from what you could tell from the story, he learned from what he went through, and he grew up and became a successful person and an advocate for child abuse victims. And his message in the story is just that a lot of children are abused, and that there's a lot that people can do. And if you see a child that you think is being abused, you should report it, because you never know, you could save a life. Thank you.